As Christians, we lived in a really pretty protected environment, particularly here in the U.S. It was, based on Christian ideals and principles, and we've lived through that for some number of years, but for a long time, the tide has slowly been changing.
Let's talk about the importance of Christians really kind of taking a forward-leaning stance to push back against this culture war that we're in. Why is that important, and how do we continue to do that?
Well, for so long, I talk about how as Christians, we lived in a really pretty protected environment, particularly here in the U.S. It was, based on Christian ideals and principles, and we've lived through that for some number of years, but for a long time, the tide has slowly been changing. And now it's at our doorstep. It's in our schools, it's at our doorstep, it's in our media. And so no longer can we just batten down the hatches, close the doors, close the windows, because we're going to end up with no place to go. And so we need to go out and push back against the culture. You're seeing that with parents going back and saying, this cannot be in our libraries anymore. This pornographic material for children cannot be in our libraries anymore. But I think in the digital realm, it's happening so fast, or we think that, and we talked about Disney a little bit ago, right? We've seen the cancellation of Disney. So it's finally starting to happen in the digital realm, but there's a lot of things that just slip by, particularly because they're free. So we think that they're free. Now, I always say, if it's free to you, then you're the commodity, right? Your eyeballs and time are what's paying for this. And so we're going to have to push back against that by making things somewhat inconvenient. Most parents have gone out and said, well, I'm going to cancel Disney. I'm going to cancel Netflix after Cuties came out. I'm going to cancel HBO. Well, where do they turn? So we need Christians to step in and fill in that realm and say, we're going to create something to fight back and take back that space. Now, if you're anything like me, before I started GoodTube Kids, I said, what am I supposed to do? Create YouTube or GoodTube for kids? And I wouldn't be able to do it if the Lord wasn't guiding my hand there. But as a parent, it's going to be making the choice to support those and step away from things that used to be nostalgic to us. Disney, we talked about, used to be this place that everyone loved to go. And now you can't trust what they're putting out there in modern day without screening it first. And so that means we're going to have to leave what is potentially convenient, seemingly inexpensive or cheap, or what we've always done before, in order to explore new arenas and tell companies with our time and our money that we're not going to support what you're doing. I wish these companies would go back the other way. I wish the days of Mr. Rogers would return, but I fear that they are long since gone, and we're going to have to make choices. As you walk with your children, either through their life, through the digital media that you're watching on TV, and you see something pop up, like Sean McDowell says, like others say, that's an opportunity to have a conversation and to explain. When you sigh at the commercial, or you say, let's not watch this commercial, well, why? Why shouldn't we do that? Well, let me explain to you why this is. And it's not just that it's not that we are vitriolic or angry at those people. Here's the worldview they're proposing, and why do we believe, why is that incorrect? And what evidence do we have to support that? The same thing in the store. You're going to run across it, and you're going to say, this is what we believe. This is why we believe it, which is just as important. This is why we believe what we say to be true. And why is that? How is that incongruent with what we're seeing? It's easy just to try to avoid it, but that won't prepare them.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked Podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.